For many, beaches are synonymous with refuge and relaxation. But what if I told you that beyond the sun, sand, and soothing sound of the waves, there are invisible and silent dangers few people know about? Most of us think of sharks when we consider risks at the beach, but are they really the biggest threat? Perhaps the real dangers lie where we least expect them, right beneath our feet, in the seemingly harmless touch of sand, or in the crystal-clear waters that lure us in. No, this isn't to scare you, but to open your eyes to a much safer and more aware experience by the ocean. Just imagine. Sand holes that can collapse, algae that poison the air, unexpected visitors, and marine creatures that float quietly yet carry deadly venom. These are real situations that, with a bit of knowledge, can be avoided, turning a day of relaxation into a memory free of surprises. This is the kind of information no one thinks to share, but it makes all the difference when it comes to enjoying the beach to the fullest, without any unexpected twists. Ready to discover the hidden side of your seaside paradise? Although the popular imagination paints sharks as the #1 threat at beaches, the real hazards are often right under our feet, and they have nothing to do with sharp teeth. Sand accidents, jellyfish, and even algae blooms pose far more frequent and sometimes insidious dangers. Imagine a casual beach stroll, your feet sinking into the soft sand, the sound of the ocean in the background, and suddenly, a jellyfish sting or an allergic reaction to algae interrupts the paradise. Talking about the beach conjures up images of relaxation, but knowing about these other risks transforms an ordinary seaside afternoon into a safer, more prepared experience. Sand accidents might seem unlikely, but they're a constant issue. Who hasn't seen a child digging a hole deep enough to create a small crater? Well, these holes, even in seemingly harmless sand, can cave in, causing suffocation, as some tragic cases involving buried youngsters show. Here's a golden rule. Safe digging means keeping holes shallow, just deep enough for play without creating risks. And don't leave the hole open when you leave. The simple act of filling the sand back in prevents accidents for you and future beachgoers. Who would have thought that sand hides so much? Surprises also come from the unexpected creatures we encounter. Jellyfish, for instance, are notable beach residents that can cause anything from mild discomfort to severe reactions. And don't underestimate calm waters. Jellyfish approach even during tranquil tides, bringing their stinging venom along. In Australia, for example, the box jellyfish, a highly toxic species, is one of the top marine threats. Just a quick search before going to the beach to find out if it's jellyfish season and which precautions to take can go a long way. The ocean offers us wonders, but a little respect and caution are key to enjoying it without unpleasant surprises. Seemingly harmless, sand can become a dangerous trap when we're not careful. It's tempting to dig deep holes, whether for innocent play or just to feel the cool sand below. However, these holes can collapse suddenly, creating a suffocation situation that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. On busy beaches, where children and even adults love to dig, it's common for holes to go deeper than is safe, creating a real accident risk. Keeping holes shallow and remembering to refill the sand afterward avoids surprises and keeps everyone safe. Tragically, there have been cases of people, especially children and teenagers, who fell victim to this type of accident. Imagine someone being buried by a sand wall that suddenly caves in. It's a scene no one wants to witness, but it can happen in a matter of seconds. To avoid this, a practical tip is to use the shovel superficially and, if creating a larger space, favor width over depth. This way, the hole is less likely to collapse. Also, when leaving the beach, make sure no open holes are left behind. A simple habit that helps prevent unnecessary risks for others. Abundant and seemingly tranquil, sand holds unexpected traps. But by understanding the dangers and acting consciously, it's possible to play and enjoy without compromising safety. Here's a valuable tip. When digging, always think of the hole as temporary, something that, after a few minutes of fun, needs to be undone. Making this a habit makes the beach experience not only fun but also safe for whoever may enjoy that same patch of sand after you. Algae, often seen as a harmless part of the ocean, can hide hidden dangers when they grow out of control. A notorious example is Florida's red tides, where algal blooms release powerful toxins, affecting both those who venture into the sea and those who stroll along the nearby sands. When these algae multiply, they release compounds that irritate the human respiratory system and even intoxicate marine life, including fish and crustaceans, disrupting the local ecosystem balance. What seems like a simple beach scene actually hides a threat that impacts everyone around. The effects of toxins released by algae are more severe than many imagine. In some cases, simply breathing the air near an affected area can cause eye, nose, and throat irritation. For people with respiratory issues like asthma, the impact can be even more serious. The presence of these algae turns a simple stroll along the sand into something potentially hazardous. Before visiting the beach, especially in areas prone to red tides, it's always good to check the algae status in that region. Knowing this helps avoid headaches and uncomfortable symptoms. Beyond the direct impact on humans, toxic algae create real chaos in the marine ecosystem. Mass fish deaths and shellfish contamination directly affect the food chain, including seabirds that feed on these animals. And here's another detail few realize. Consuming seafood caught during an algae bloom outbreak can bring serious health risks. When these algae blooms appear, even the most common beach activities like swimming or fishing require an extra layer of awareness. After all, the beach's beauty hides many secrets beyond the sand and ocean. It's not just tourists who flock to the beach. In some places, it's common to run into some rather unusual visitors. In Australia, for example, certain beaches are graced, or perhaps unnerved, by the presence of cassowaries, giant birds that look straight out of a prehistoric story. Huge, with sharp claws and a territorial attitude, cassowaries aren't exactly the kind of neighbor you'd expect during a relaxing stroll on the sand. But there they are, sharing the space with anyone who dares to venture too close. In situations like this, common sense and distance are the best allies. These unconventional visitors may be more common than you'd imagine, especially in regions where nature and humans frequently intersect. In Brazil, some beaches host sea turtles that climb onto the sand to lay their eggs, while in others, it's not unusual to see capybaras exploring the coast in search of food. If you encounter one of these creatures, respecting their space is essential. The tip here is to observe without direct interaction, keeping a safe distance and avoiding sudden movements that might startle them. The presence of such unique animals at the beach is a reminder that we're merely guests in their habitat. It's not rare to hear stories of curious tourists who, out of intrigue, try to get too close to these beings, putting their own safety at risk. Understanding that the beach is a shared environment between humans and animals broadens the perspective of those seeking an authentic, conscious experience with nature. After all, every unexpected encounter with these locals transforms the sandy, oceanfront landscape into a much richer and somewhat surreal experience. Beaches have invisible traps that can surprise even the most seasoned swimmers, like rip currents and shore break waves. A rip current may appear harmless at first glance, but it's incredibly powerful, pulling anyone in its path towards the open ocean. Many tourists, unprepared for this hidden force, panic, attempting to swim back to the sand and quickly exhausting themselves. The guidance here is clear. Swim parallel to the shore to escape, then return to the beach afterward. Shore breaks represent another type of danger, especially in places like Hawaiian beaches, where strong waves break close to the sand. These impacts can cause serious injuries, including neck and spinal fractures, even in seemingly shallow waters. For those who wish to surf or even just enjoy the water's edge, understanding the force of these waves is crucial. A practical tip: observe the lifeguards and follow their instructions. They know the specific risks of each beach area better than anyone. While the scenario may seem a bit daunting, being prepared for these conditions transforms the seaside experience into something safer and more confident. Many beaches use flags and signs to indicate areas with currents or dangerous waves, and recognizing these signs is half the battle. It's worth remembering. The sea is a master of surprises, and even the sand, which seems like a safe harbor, holds its own hidden traps. The best approach is to stay prepared, while still enjoying every second by the ocean. Sparkling seas may look inviting under the sun, but beneath the surface may lie some of the beach's most treacherous creatures, jellyfish. While many cause only mild skin irritation, Some species, like Australia's dreaded box jellyfish, are venomous enough to be deadly. Encountering one while swimming is a risk few consider, but it can turn a dip in the sea into a dramatic ordeal. Knowing the basics about the area and, if possible, asking locals about jellyfish presence already helps avoid these unwanted encounters. In many regions, beaches have vinegar stations, an emergency resource for treating jellyfish stings. A quick brush with these tentacles is enough to cause an intense burning sensation that quickly spreads across the skin. Using vinegar may help neutralize some of the venom, though it's best to seek medical help to ensure symptoms don't worsen. Paying attention to safety flags and avoiding swimming during peak jellyfish seasons are simple measures that make a big difference in avoiding risks. Jellyfish are the perfect reminder that the ocean hides invisible mysteries and dangers. It's essential to remember that using protective clothing, like lycras and wetsuits, in regions known for jellyfish presence, can help prevent direct contact with tentacles. This way, the beach remains a place of peace, fun, and safety, with no need to worry about these invisible, silent creatures floating between the sand and the ocean. Now that you're aware of the secrets that can transform a beach outing into a safer and more conscious experience, how about putting this knowledge into practice? Maybe it's time to rethink the idea that the biggest threat lies far from us, in the depths. The beach, with its sand, ocean, and all its mysteries, offers valuable lessons for those willing to understand its secrets. Every tip we've shared here is a step towards fully enjoying the beach without compromising your safety or the safety of those you love. Had you ever thought about checking the safety of the sand you walk on or learning about the marine creatures inhabiting the waters? If not, what's stopping you from starting now? This is just the beginning of a new way to embrace the paradise that beaches provide us. And if you want to keep discovering how to enjoy this space with wisdom and safety, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and follow each new update. The ocean has much to teach, and we're here to guide you on this journey.